Brady Perrin, Lake Region Union.
A Mountain League first-team catcher, Brady put up stellar numbers in his sophomore baseball campaign in helping the Rangers to a 14-4 record. A team leader and standout defender behind the dish, Perrin batted .431, had 22 hits, 29 runs, 9 doubles, 17 RBIs, and 15 steals. In the fall, the Division II All-State and All-Mountain first-team midfielder scored 19 goals and added 20 assists for the undefeated Lake Region soccer team, which beat Milton 4-0 to earn the program's first ever crown. In the winter, Perrin was a scoring machine on the ice, tallying 29 goals and 21 assists for the North Country hockey team. Eclipsing the 100-point mark as a junior, the All-Lake Division first-team forward scored 2 goals and had an assist as the Falcons won the Division II state championship 4-3 over Harwood.
So when I was younger, I wasn't that big of a kid. I think in 7th grade I was like 5'5" maybe. So everyone was always bigger than me. So it just made it so that if I wanted to get that starting spot on any of my teams, just had to push a little harder than the rest of them. So being as small as I was, watching Boston College, they were probably my favorite hockey team, college hockey team anyways, growing up. Nathan Gerby was their captain. I think he was the captain as a sophomore, and being 5'4" his entire hockey career, whether it be NHL, college, he just never got much bigger. It was kind of like, this is exactly who I want to be.
Brady, one of the better athletes in Orleans County these days. He's only a junior. He was on Lake Region's undefeated state championship soccer team. He scored 20 goals. He scored 27 goals for this hockey team last year. And he's a heck of a catcher in baseball. Pretty complete all-around athlete, that kid. Loves hockey, and his father says, you know, he loves the sport, whatever the season is. So it's hockey season, and hockey's his main game right now. And he's had a great season. It's a good move for Lake Region and North Country to bring his talents up here. Falcons break out on the right side. Go in on goal from there. They score! Simple as that. Just talking about it. Goes right to the cage. That's Brady Perrin. Just got done talking about it.
When I first saw him on the ice in the first 5 minutes of the first day of tryouts, the natural talent was obviously stuck out like a sore thumb. Very gifted, but it was more than that. You could see that mentally he wasn't a 14-year-old boy. You know, he was 18 already. I think in his first game we had a penalty shot, and I actually I had him go take it as a freshman in his first hockey game, I believe. He did miss that penalty shot, by the way, but you know, that's something that I wouldn't do with hardly any individuals that I can think of, but he was that far ahead of the curve at that point.
His presence on the field helps his teammates become better. You know, it really hit home the other day when I had a senior after baseball practice. I watched the senior go up to Brady the other day and ask him for his advice on hitting. And Brady took the time after practice to go out to the batting cage and throw BP to him and give him constructive criticism. You know, that's just the kind of teammate that he is, and very proud of that.
Growing up with Nathan Gerby as my role model was, it was big into making me the player I am in every sport, not just hockey. Whether you're short or you're tall or you're slower than other people or you don't have the skills, it just really showed me that the hard work, no matter what size you are, just can really pay off in the end.
Colin Urie, St. Johnsbury Academy.
Best known for his football exploits, Colin excels anywhere he plays. Last spring, he lit up the lacrosse field, scoring 48 goals and adding 24 assists while being named an All-League player in Division II. The Record's Football Player of the Year for the second consecutive season, Colin passed for 1,489 yards and 13 touchdowns and rushed for 1,085 yards and 14 scores, tying his single-season touchdown mark at 27 while leading St. Johnsbury to the Division I state title game. In the winter, taking up track and field for the first time, Colin finished third in weight throw, second as part of the 4x200 relay, and was seventh in the 55 and 300 dash at the Division I state championship.
So back going into second grade, my family moved into a dorm, Burroughs Place on St. Johnsbury Academy's campus, and the trees weren't fully grown yet since it was a new dorm. There was a lot of construction around it. And so from my room, I could look out and see the football field. And so every day after school, I'd come home and I'd go up to my room and I'd look out the window and watch the academy's practice from my room after school. I thought it was really cool to be able to see everything from my room. It was my own little box seats.
When the opportunity came up for him to try flag football with the Rodliff Raiders when he was in kindergarten, I think, you know, he could catch a ball, he could run. He was a little bit faster than the other kids that were his age. He always had to run away from his sister when he was little, so he knew how to dodge and weave.
So when I was younger, me and my friends used to play a lot of backyard football, and we'd always pick different players, like academy players or our favorite player at the time, and we'd pretend to be them when we were playing. And I always used to pick players like Zach Risnett, who was a scrappy, physical, little wide receiver, and so I'd always try to play like him, and I just couldn't wait to get to high school so I could be like one of them.
First time I met Colin Urie was in the field house. My very first day here meeting the players. Didn't know anybody, but I did. My eyes were drawn to one kid throwing a football. Great poise, great technique, stood tall, had a quick release, very accurate. And I went over and asked who it was, and the young man said, "My name's Colin Urie, and I'm going to be a freshman here," which was a little shocking. But I immediately nicknamed him the Future. In Colin's senior year, in the 3 playoff games, in the first game against Rutland, he single-handedly took over the game when they were driving for the win. On one play, he intercepts the ball on their 3rd down conversion.
He's going to run right, lofts one out into the flat, and it's picked off by that guy, Colin Urie, with a huge interception at the 20-yard line.
On the very next play, he takes it 78 yards for a touchdown.
Urie's going to keep it himself and run left. Has a seam to the left. Down the sideline, it's a foot race. Colin Urie to the 40, 30, looks over his shoulder. No one's going to catch him. It's 22-14.
Then we play CVU, and he gets us off to a great start, but has a game-ending wrist injury, and we think he's out for the year. But Colin comes back for the state championship game with his wrist taped up and braced, and we put him in at running back and wide receiver. And we weren't doing well offensively. He came up to me in the middle of the game and said, "I'm taking this off. I want to play quarterback."
So I walked up to him. I was pretty frustrated. They had just scored another touchdown. They're up by quite a bit. And this was my last game. So I walked up to him and I said, "I can take the cast off and I'll go play quarterback. Do you want that?"
And I said, "Colin, you can't. You have that, that brace on your wrist." And he just starts tearing it off. And I said, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with that. We better make sure your dad, who's one of our coaches, and Chris is okay." And he said, "They're fine with it. I'm playing quarterback."
Chris Despins, the trainer, asked me what the heck I was doing. I told him. He said, "Good luck." And I went in there and did my best. I'm really going to miss the field a lot. I'm going to miss playing with my team, playing with my friends. I have 4 more years where I can play with a group of guys, and I'm sure it'll be great, but I don't think any of those memories will replace the memories that I made on that field with my buddies.
Riley Urie, Lake Region Union.
No matter the sport, Riley plays with a combination of speed, skill, and power. At the Division III State Track Championship last spring, he took 3rd in the 100 and 200 meters, 4th as part of the 4x100 relay, and was 5th in shot put. On the soccer pitch, Riley dominated. The record Soccer Player of the Year, scored 26 goals and added 22 assists, and was critical to the Division II Rangers seizing their first ever soccer title. In the quarterfinals, he scored the game winner in overtime and then had a hat trick in the championship, a 4-0 drubbing of Milton. On the basketball court, Riley's speed and athleticism were key as he averaged 18 points per game and landed on the record in VBCA Dream Dozen and the Mountain Division First Team.
So Riley has always been a rambunctious little boy. He was adopted at about 16 months old out of St. Louis, Missouri. His brother and sister came first, so they are the two oldest. Riley came to us about 2 years later, and he's always been a joy to watch because he plays with 100% of himself. And when we first met him as a little boy in Missouri, 16 months old, walking around and already talking complete sentences, we knew we might have our hands full.
Came home from work one day, Riley was out on the drive here, running sprints. He was in the 3rd grade. He was running sprints and doing push-ups. We had just had a fall soccer league game where he was the youngest player. It was 3rd through 6th grade. He had run I don't know how many sprints and how many push-ups. And I drove right by him and came in the house and asked his mother what he was doing, and she said, "I don't know, I thought you had told him to do it." And when I went back out, I asked Riley what he was doing, and he said, "Dad, do you remember that boy that was beating me to the ball?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "That's not going to happen next time we play him."
Yuri to his right, gets by the defense, and now he puts it in. 3-0 Lake Region on Riley Uri's 2nd goal of the game.
I want to play at the highest level of soccer I can, and I want to be pushed, and I also want to play with the best. And so I would like to go Division I. I want to enter the draft if I can after. My dad's always told me not to settle, and seeing all the people on TV, they must have started from somewhere, and they must have also had the same dreams.
I am very proud of the fact that he doesn't settle for being what he is right now and is always trying to be a better person. And he understands that he has to put the effort into it. Does he set his goals extremely high? Yes, and I think that you'll never reach that goal if you don't set it that high.
I really try to keep myself in the best shape possible. And I always stretch a lot. That's one thing you don't know about me. I stretch all the time. Downstairs when I'm playing video games, while I'm watching TV, I'm always stretching too to keep my body nimble. I always tell my parents I want to do yoga because they say that'll keep your body younger.
Or he's walking around the house with ankle weights on, constantly running up and down the stairs.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate to have the parents I have. They're really loving and supportive. They're really caring. And it's a really great feeling to know that they have your back, and I think every kid should have that. Unfortunately, some don't, but I was lucky enough to have parents that care that much about me to see what I want to do and try to not stop until I've accomplished that. And so that makes me want to improve even more and give them someday, hopefully, if I get in the draft, someday give that back. And even if I don't, just know that I made them proud.